Okay, we have the gun registry. Sorry to hold you up. I introduced you or called out your name, so if you will identify yourselves as you speak, I'd appreciate it.
You did. So, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of Council, for giving us this opportunity today.
You folks signed.
I just want to say how fitting it is that the previous speaker just spoke about safe city, and we talked about our crime, reduction in crime. I want to applaud your staff for putting us just behind that. She did a good job on the agenda for putting us just behind that, because it may prove that our long gun registry, which is in effect, may have had something to do with the reduction in crime. Madam Mayor, members of Council, my name is Motilall Sarjoo, President of the Brampton-Mississauga District Labour Council, and I have with me here today Sister Gogi Bhandal, representative of the Canadian Labour Congress, and Sister Gwen Campbell, CAW Women's Committee Chair. In the audience as well, I have Sister Edie Strawn. She's an enforcement officer who, if we have time at the end of the presentation, is willing to share some examples of how a frontline officer on the road, the jeopardy they are in when somebody draws a gun, if they're trying to enforce traffic, the stopping trucks that are unsafe and so on the road. This morning, Madam Mayor and members of Council, I would say that we are asking this support of a support letter from this Council to go to the members of Parliament within Mississauga, or if it can go within the Peel region, to all the members of Parliament to help keep the gun registry intact. We also want a letter sent to the Prime Minister of Canada to keep the gun registry intact, because we have proof that it has saved a number of lives. Whether it's one life we have saved, I think it's adequate to say we have saved a life. And without further ado, I would ask Sister Gogi Bhandal and Sister Gwen Campbell to give you the presentation we have today, and we'll take any questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and the Council members, for giving us the opportunity to raise our concerns with you this morning. Last week, on December 6th, Thursday, all Canadians remembered and honoured 14 young women who were murdered in Montreal in 1989 because they were women. The gun registry is part of a package of provisions established in response to public pressure following that tragedy in Montreal. By introducing stronger gun control laws, Canada has reduced the amount of firearms-related violence and death. Now the Conservatives want to take us back 15 years and put the narrow interests of the US-backed gun lobby ahead of the lives and safety of Canadians. The Conservative government has tabled Bill C-19, an act to amend the Criminal Code and the Firearms Act. The bill would eliminate the mandatory registration of non-restricted firearms, rifles and shotguns, and destroy all the data it has collected so far. The RCMP has further confirmed that Bill C-19 will no longer require gun dealers to maintain records on who they are selling the long guns to, which will severely cripple the police's ability to trace guns recovered in crime.
Bill C-19 was introduced on October 25th of this year, as the Conservative government had stated they would be putting in measures to repeal the long gun registry. October 25th would have been the 43rd birthday of one of the young women killed in the Montreal massacre. And her mother has written an article that said that, it was a tragedy, 14 women killed, but out of that, they were able to, in 1995, get the long gun registry. a shame that so many young women had to die on that day. She stated her young daughter was a brilliant young student at L'École Polytechnique in Montreal. But by this time, her mother says she would have been a grandmother because her daughter had wanted to have 3 or 4 children. So it's a real tragedy that on the day that this young woman would have turned 43 is when the Conservative government put that bill on the table. And not only does the bill take away everything that we won back in 1995 with Bill 68, it actually removes items that were first put into place in law here in Canada back in 1977. And those, Gogi mentioned a couple of them. It makes verifying a firearms purchaser's license voluntary. So if somebody goes in to buy a gun, they no longer have to prove that they have a license. They can just go in and get one. So it increases the chances unlicensed individuals will be sold rifles and shotguns. And let's just remember that all guns start off as legal firearms, and they become illegal through the course of time through people who want to use them in crimes. The registry it controls, what it does is controls the legal guns, and they're essential to preventing diversion and choking off that illegal supply if we have a record of that. Most industrialized countries register their firearms. The registry helps Canada meet its international obligations to trace firearms and combat the illegal gun trade. It also omits provisions to reinstate the requirements that businesses keep a record of their sales. As I said, that has been a requirement since 1977, but it was removed in 1995 because it was covered under the new legislation. Without this information, there is no way for police to investigate the source of shotguns and rifles that are recovered at this crime scene. So, I mean, that's a huge help to the police officers. They can trace back where it started and then follow the procedure after that.
The gun registry is an important tool for workplace and community safety. Police have estimated that and they use the registry over 17,000 times a day and say it helps them prevent, investigate, and solve crimes. Social workers, paramedics, firefighters, and other first responders use the information in the database to help them keep safe on the job. They need to know when there is a gun in the home or whether there's a risk of gun violence before they enter a situation, so they can quickly devise a plan to ensure the safety of workers, clients, and patients. There are currently 7 million registered non-restricted guns. This category includes rifles and shotguns, such as powerful semi-automatic Ruger Mini 14 used in the Montreal massacre. And sniper rifles, including the .50 caliber sniper rifle. Rifles and shotguns are the most used weapons in domestic violence, suicides, and to kill police officers. They also figure prominently in incidents of workplace violence, like the 1999 tragedy at the OC Transpro bus yard in Ottawa. Gun violence is not only a big city issue. Domestic violence, suicide, and murders of police officers with firearms occur more often on a per capita basis. In rural communities, women experiencing domestic violence in rural areas report threats and intimidation using firearms. A 2010 Ipsos-Reid poll showed that 2/3 of Canadians support the gun registry. Even in rural areas, supporters equal opponents. Although they are less vocal, the vast majority of people living with gun owners and the majority of rural women support the registry. According to the RCMP, abolishing the gun registry would save less than $4 million per year. It's not much. The costs involved with destroying the data have been identified by the government. The money to set up the registry has already been spent. The government claims that it's waste of money, but no, it's already been spent. What a waste of taxpayers' investment to simply throw it away.
There's lots of expert support for the long gun registry, as Gogi has mentioned. We've got victims advocates, including the Government of Canada's Ombudsman for Victims of Crime and her immediate predecessor, frontline shelter workers, particularly those working with rural Canadians, public health and suicide prevention groups. They've argued that there's been a significant drop in suicide since 1995. And obviously the police associations have stated that it's a huge help to them. The rate of women murdered with firearms by their intimate partners has decreased by 69% since 1995, a huge reduction. It also allows, for example, for police to go into a home if there's been some issues of domestic violence. They can go into a home and remove those guns even before, obviously before they're used. But it's just a tool to prevent violence, more violent acts following, an ongoing battle, say a custody battle or ongoing domestic issues battle.
The best way to protect the data is to save the gun registry. Some provinces have said that they would keep the registry going in their jurisdiction if the federal government eliminates it. So they have said they will keep it. Some are calling for an amendment to the legislation to save the data, but the cheapest and most effective way to save the data is to keep the national registry. The Brampton-Mississauga Labour Council and the Canadian Labour Congress supports the long gun registry as an effective tool for workplace and community safety. Eliminating it will put workers and Canadians at risk.
I just want to add, Madam Mayor and members of Council, that the meeting has been set up with the Peel Regional Police, with the police chief. I met a couple of weeks ago with Deputy Chief Tetzlaff, and with myself and himself, we have arranged a meeting with MPs, which will be taking place on Friday.
Oh, great.
At 2 o'clock, yes, at the police headquarters, Regional Peel Police Headquarters.
Well, Councillor Crombie is the next speaker, and maybe she can give us some insight as to the government that put it in, well, why the government wants to take it out. Maybe you could give us some insight.
He will know I'm a big advocate of the gun registry. Yogi, nice to see you. Gwen, thanks for being here. It's beyond me why you have to register your dog, your boat, your house, your car, but not your gun. It's complete futility. I just don't understand the short-sightedness of disbanding the registry and then just requiring the data to be destroyed. I can see it as only pure ideologically driven to do so. This registry receives such wide-based support from police associations, chiefs of police, women's groups, health groups, victims of crime groups, suicide prevention groups. As you said, the police use it 17,000 times per day to investigate a potentially volatile situation before they arrive. They're going to check to see, is there a long gun in this situation? Because it could escalate. They may have to radio for more help. They may have to consider removing guns for a period of time. And it is the weapon of choice in suicide and in domestic violence. And if anyone has any doubt about that, let me just share a personal story. I won't name the individual, but my husband was the foreman of a jury of a local realtor that many of us know, whose husband shot her, a retired police officer, 4 times in the back of the head with a long gun. It is the weapon of choice in domestic violence and in suicide, and people don't realize that. They think it's a handgun, and that's not the case. So I'm very proud to move this motion, and I'd be happy to send my own support letter to you. I think we should also appeal to the Premier about preserving the data of the registry here in Ontario. I don't know if Madam Mayor would consider preserving the data here in Mississauga or in the region of Peel, but certainly I noticed in the newspaper today that the Quebec Solicitor General is suing the federal government to preserve the data at a minimum, because I think the registry is lost, sadly. I think it hasn't received third reading at C-19, but I think it shortly will. There's a hope of preserving the data and maybe keeping it going locally, whether at the provincial or regional level. That would be a great relief. So kudos to you to come forward. Anything I can do, you can count on my support. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for the excellent document that you provided us with, by the way. I find it hard to believe that when the police chiefs of Canada, all the police forces that I know of, don't want it to disappear, and for justified reasons. Are you telling me that there's some group that has more influence in Ottawa than the safety of people? Obviously there is.
That appears to be, yeah.
I just can't believe it, that there is. And that we have to fight for something that's already been approved. The money's been spent, and now they want to destroy it. That to me is just unbelievable, quite honestly. When here we are trying to fight crime, and guns seems to be the problem. We complain about the fact that anybody can walk into a store in the United States and get a gun. We're so proud they can't do it here in Canada as easily, etc. I don't know. There must be a powerful group that has influence far beyond the safety of people.
NRA.
That really is it.
It's called NRA.
Yeah.
To address your concern about the Ontario data, Councillor Crombie, because we didn't know whether this government, the federal government, would have pushed this through fast. That is why I decided to grab the MPs first. But now I checked with the House of Commons, and it's not on the agenda until the new year. So what I decided to do is try to have a meeting set up with the members of Parliament, provincial Parliament. So if ask them if we can have the Ontario data even to keep that in Ontario. So we are doing this strategically by force, because I didn't know whether it would be pushed through before the 15th, before tomorrow. But when I checked, it wasn't there. So I just want to say I would be going out to try to save the Ontario data.
Great, congratulations. I just wanted to say that I really think it's going to be futile to get the Mississauga MPs to change their positions on disbanding the gun registry. I would think that focus your efforts on preserving the data and work with the province to see if we can set up something, parallel to keep it going. But thank you. It has been a priority of this government's, through ideological reasons to disband this registry. So I think it will be a fait accompli in the new year. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Well, I have a motion I'd like to read while you're here to deal with it. Moved by Councillor Crombie and seconded by Councillor Dale. Councillor Dale is on our Police Services Board, so he knows the support of Peel Regional Police. Whereas on October 25th, 2011, the Minister of Public Safety, wowie, that's quite a title, Public Safety, introduced Bill C-18, an act, he might have a conflict, an act to amend the Criminal Code and Firearms Act, ending the Long Gun Registry Act and requiring the destruction of the existing information. And whereas Peel Regional Police, among many other agencies and organizations, as well as individual citizens, believe that the Long Gun Registry is an important tool in preserving the safety of citizens and officers in their day-to-day duties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Mississauga requests the federal government to reconsider the proposed legislation, or at a minimum permit the provinces to retain the information currently in the registration database. A letter be sent to the Prime Minister transmitting this resolution with copies to the MPs and requesting their support. Any response from them as to the action they are prepared to take on this issue. You've heard the motion. I'm going to ask for a recorded vote because the Mayor wishes to vote on this.
All those in favour of the motion, please stand. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and the councillors.
Yes,
Thank you very much for coming. And as I say, this is an excellent, that should, I hope it's on your website or distributed so citizens can benefit from the background research that you've done.
Yes, we're trying to hold a public consultation meeting, town hall meetings across the region of Peel, so that we can advise before it comes up to vote in Parliament. Because I have requested the eight members of Parliament in the Peel region. So far, 5 has declined to attend the meeting with the police chief on Friday. I'm waiting for the other 3.
It is
so I'm still working on them. I'm giving them that information and more information to educate them on the issue because I think they need to be educated on it, Madam.
Sometimes the party system doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the information is available on the Canadian Labour Congress website, which is www.canadianlabour.ca.
Very good. Well,
I want to thank you for your continued support.
I hope it's not too late. You have to get the public, though, behind it.
Yes.
And that's why I think this document is so vital to be in the hands of the public.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I want to thank you for your continued support and all councillors here for your continued support for our cause.
Thank you.
Once again, have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Same to you and the groups that you represent.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Building up our neighbourhoods.